If you're someone who struggles with perfectionism, you're not alone. Perfectionism is so common, and the way it can take hold of us can be really painful. Hi, I'm Emma Coble. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I work with feminist women who are perfectionists, overachievers, really thoughtful. I work in Colorado and Florida. So, today we're going to talk a little bit more deeply about perfectionism and what it is, why it shows up, and how we can relate to it differently so that it feels like it has less of a hold on us. So, what does perfectionism look like? So, perfectionism might look like you are really hard on yourself. It can feel like nothing you do is ever really enough or ever really good enough. You might drive yourself to have an extremely packed, full schedule. You might be hard on yourself about the way you show up in relationships, if you're giving enough, how you show up at work, your appearance. You might be trying to constantly diet or change your body or how age affects us. So, perfectionism is, first of all, it's very common in for a lot of people, but it often it can feel very, very painful to feel like whatever we're doing, it's not good enough. We have to constantly be working harder. We really don't allow ourselves to rest or to feel like our job is done or just like we're enough. And so, this constant striving for being better and better and better really takes a huge toll on our mental health. It makes us anxious, it makes us feel overwhelmed, it makes us feel depressed. And so, if this is you, I want to say, first of all, like, it's not your fault that this is often how the case is, especially for women. Women have ridiculously high standards on us in this society and in this culture to hold it all, to hold full time jobs and earn an income, but also to be amazing partners, parents, family members who often are taking care of other people in the family, all while maintaining like a beautiful figure, but not being vain. Like having flawless skin, like all of these things we are expected to be and do as women. It's too much and it's impossible, the standards. So, that said, another thing that can hugely impact perfectionism is trauma and what we experience as kids. A lot of the clients I work with, there was an implicit message of not being lovable, or of only being lovable due to accomplishments, and of really connecting with a primary attachment figure through accomplishing and achieving. Um, and oftentimes, this can show up as well as it can become a tool that we use that's a tool of like hypervigilance. Like, if we're just on it, if we're just doing everything as perfectly as we can, the things around us won't fall apart. Or if they do, it won't be our fault. We won't be to blame if things fall apart. Um, so there's also an element of this. There's all these old wounds, and perfectionism is a tool and a part of us and an adaptation mechanism that we use to adapt to a world or a childhood where we have been taught where we need to be perfect to be lovable. There's another part of this where perfectionism is something that is a white capitalist patriarchal value, that can be a way of keeping marginalized groups, people of color, women, in line. If people are never really feeling like what they're doing is enough, they will silence themselves. They won't have any energy to rise up or speak out. So, want to just say that as another way of thinking about this, that this is again not your fault, because it is something that has been thrust upon many of us as a way, as another mode of oppression. So, um, okay, so this might be affecting you. We talked about this a little bit, but in terms of like, you might feel really burnt out, you might feel a lot of anxiety and shame. You might also feel kind of disconnected from others because you don't really ever feel good enough, and you're constantly thinking about how you're falling short, but also all that maybe you have to do on your list, that it feels hard to just truly connect with other people. So, what is beneath all this? There's a younger part in there inside that feels hurt, rejected, not enough, like we talked about. Um, there's probably this part, this core belief of if I'm not perfect, I will be abandoned. If I don't show up perfectly in all these areas, it will mean I'm not okay, I'm not worthy. So, what do we do about this? How do we heal perfectionism? Well, trauma therapy, EMDR therapy, is a great way of doing this because it really works with healing stories that are there and processing through old traumas and beliefs that we formed, and healing the parts of us that had to take on roles that they shouldn't have had to take on. Um, so that could be a really amazing modality and tool. But some things you can do on your own is, first of all, to recognize this perfectionism. It's a part of you, it's not the whole truth of who you are. Perfectionism is not you. You are not just perfectionist. That's it. This is a part of you that has, again, it's taken on this role of trying to be perfect in order to help you, in order to make your life better, in order to keep you safe in some way. And it used to probably serve a role for you or think it was serving a role. And for many of us, we don't need it in the same way anymore. So I would just say, like, get curious about this part's role. Like, what's it afraid would happen if it were not keeping you safe in this way? If it weren't helping you be perfect all the time, what's it afraid would happen? And then why did it originally develop? And what was it afraid would happen if it didn't help you back then? Um, just notice, see, oftentimes the answer might be about like safety, rejection, worth. So just notice what comes up. And then attend to the younger parts underneath that this part might be protecting. So, is there a vulnerable part, often called an exiled part, that feels sadness, not enough, unworthy, that's under here? Um, when did that part develop? And what is that part feeling, and what's it been carrying for you, for your life? Um, Also notice how systemic issues and the world we live in might be playing into this for you. What were you taught about your role? What were you taught about how you needed to show up? Who did that benefit as well for you to carry these beliefs? And then practice it being okay to just show up as good enough, or sometimes to just show up at all. And remember that you just showing up is oftentimes enough. Um, Oftentimes, just your presence is something that is impactful, whether that be at work or with the people you love. That's often what people are wanting from you. And then build in some self compassion practices. So maybe that's putting a hand on your heart, saying, I care about this suffering, doing things like taking time for you, um, and intentionally resting can all be ways of showing this younger part, like, I'm here for you, and we don't need to be running all the time. We don't need to be doing in order to be worthy. So, if this is something you struggle with, and if you'd like some help really unwinding this, I'd love to chat with you. I offer free consultations if you're in Colorado or Florida, and I hope you have a great day.